Hello, my friends, and welcome back to me talking about books. For the first time, possibly ever, I have read enough in 1 month to make a monthly or like a reading wrap up of this month. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna talk about the books that I read in March. There's still like 1 day left of March, but I don't think the situation is gonna change. I'm not very fast. So starting off very, very strong, we have A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I read this on my trip to Venice. There's a travel vlog. You might want to check it out if you like travel vlogs. Anyway, I read this on the plane and like around the time that I went there. I got this book last year, I think. I can't really remember, but I had it sitting on my shelf for a long time and I kind of never found myself reaching for her, but I finally did, and I'm really happy because I was surprised about how much I liked it. I thought it was really good. I'm sure everyone and their mother has read this already, but if you haven't, this is about a human girl. I'm not gonna try to pronounce her name because I'm still a little bit confused about that, but you know, a girl accidentally kills a fae person, and because there has been this conflict between humans and these fairies, they have a treaty that says if one of them kills the other, that's bad, right? It makes sense. So she kills a wolf that turns out to be a fae, and then, you know, this random guy, fairy guy, comes and gets her and is like, either I kill you for killing that other fae person, or you can come with me and live in my super luxurious mansion in the fairyland. And obviously the girl chooses to go live with the random guy, and then a whole bunch of stuff starts happening, of course, because everything has to go wrong. There's like an evil force that's ruining everything and making the magic unstable, the magic of the high fae. I'm a little bit new to the whole fae thing. Like if you've been around when I've talked about books earlier on this channel, you know that I just read at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I read the Folk of the Air series, which was obviously very different, but now I read this, and the whole fairy thing is still, I'm a little confused. But yeah, that's the plot, and then, you know, stuff happens. I'm not gonna spoil it. That's pretty much happens very much in the beginning, so no spoilers. I was at an art and crafts club meeting on Tuesday, so the day before yesterday, and we were talking about books, and someone asked me what has been the best book so far this year, and I think it might be her. I gave her 4 stars. Like it was close to a 5 stars. I don't really give out 5-star ratings very easily, but you know, it wasn't perfect, but it was really, really good. I would recommend it if you haven't read it, but maybe do check the trigger warnings if you find yourself to be a little bit more sensitive when it comes to the books you're reading. But anyway, it was the first read of the month. Very good. Had a good time. Yeah. The second book that I read this month was, I don't have the copy with me because I had to return it to the library, but a picture will appear. I read Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead, which was recommended to me by a friend, and I appreciate her, the friend, so much. But that book just maybe wasn't for me. It was a story. Okay, so I thought it was a little bit confusing because I love vampires. I love all things supernatural, and we know this. Wait, I have to take the bag out from my tea because I don't want it to get too strong, but I'll just keep talking, okay? So in the world of Vampire Academy and Rochelle Mead, there are two kinds of vampires. There are vampires who are living, who can use the natural elements and are kind of friends with nature, I guess. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. And then there are dead vampires who are very strong, and who are bad. They are bad, and the living vampires are good. And the story revolves around the main character, who is a guardian to one of the living vampires, because the dead vampires want to kill all of the living vampires for reasons that I'm sure are very convincing, but I don't remember. Or maybe I didn't understand. What was confusing and rather disappointing to me was that the book had all of the elements that I would consider indicators of a story that I would enjoy. Like vampires, love. Most of the book takes place in a boarding school, love. Royals, there are like the living vampires have their royals, love royals. But the thing that was not my favorite was maybe the storytelling and like the internal monologue of, or like the main character's thoughts. So the main character is, okay, it's too confusing, but the main character is training to be a guardian to one of the royal living vampires, who is a princess. Very exciting. I think it's exciting. And I think I wrote this in my review on Goodreads and in my bullet journal entry. I think it was written in like 2009, and it shows. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but this kind of, I'm not like other girls are kind of, I would even say, a little bit misogynistic. Like, I don't want to blame the author. Like, I fully recognize that it is a product. The book is a product of its time, and I get it. And, we have to always think whether it's fruitful to take the things that we know and think now and then look at previous literature through that lens. But it's hard to read something and ignore the hating on other girls. And the writing itself was maybe a little bit too quirky. Like, when I say I feel like I would have enjoyed it so much like 10 years ago, I think it would be pretty accurate, and I think it gives you a picture of what might be the issue, if you know what I mean. But I did like the plot. I thought the kind of arrangement of the world with the living and the dead vampires and the royals and the boarding school, I am intrigued about the plot, so maybe if I have a moment of weakness, I might trot along to the library and borrow it. But let's just say I'm not in a hurry. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. Moving on to my 3rd book of the month, which is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. You might know, you might not know, but I'm working my way through the Mortal Instruments series. I'm making a video series about it if you want to check it out. I think part 1, where we read The City of Bones, is up, and I'm working on the video for this one. So this is the part 2 to the City of Ashes. What the fuck? So this is the part 2 in the Mortal Instruments series, and if you wanna see what I thought, you'll have to check the reading vlog, because I will be sharing my thoughts in great detail over there. If it's out, I will put it here somewhere, but if it's not, then you might have to come back for it. You might have to like subscribe or something. Very sorry about that, but you know, I'm just a lowly little university student and I don't have time to push out videos in a hurry, okay? Last but not least, I don't know if this counts because I'm not finished, but as I anticipate to maybe finish tomorrow or like the first day of April, I'm counting it as read in March because I read most of it in March, okay? I make the rules here. And it is Physic by Angie Sage. Unexpectedly hard to pronounce this name. This is book 3 in the Septimus Heap series, which is a children's book series about a young wizard boy who is the 7th son of the 7th son and thus is incredibly magical. And he obviously has a huge family, and there's a princess, and I've been working through this series. This is also from the library, but I've been working through this series as a trip down memory lane because I used to read the series as a child in Finnish, translated into Finnish, and now I'm rereading them in the original language, which is English, and I'm having a lot of fun. I think, because I couldn't really remember, but I think that when I was a child or when I was younger, maybe like 10 years old or something, I read parts 1 and 2 because this book feels like I might not have read this before, and this is part 3, and there are 7 parts in this series, so I thought I had read the whole series, but I guess maybe not. So I think it's kind of fun. I enjoy reading literature that is meant for, or like aimed at a younger demographic, or like even children, because sometimes the stories are just the absolutely correct amount of wholesome, and because I have been struggling a little bit with my mental health, I have found it incredibly calming and even a little bit helpful to read something that is kind of heartwarming and, is that a word? Yeah? Heartwarming and wholesome and nice. So if you're looking for like if you're in the mood for something a little childish and wholesome and magical, and you know, there are wizards and there are royals and all kinds of interesting stuff happens. I don't think I can tell you much about this without spoiling the earlier parts, although I think this also came out in like 2009. For some reason, I'm in the habit of reading stuff that comes out before 2010, but you know, I'm a big fan of reading what feels right. Anyway, I'm about halfway through, and it's kind of, you know, because it's a children's book, it's kind of easy to read, so I'm expecting to finish it like maybe tomorrow, or on Saturday, the 1st of April at the latest. So I'm counting this as read in March. And that was it. That was everything I read. Actually, I think I did read something for work that I finished in March. Or maybe I finished it in, wait, let me check. Because I read books for work, and then sometimes I forget. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So I think I usually count books that I read for work into my Goodreads reading challenge, because I do in fact read the books. So actually, last but not least, I read The Scottish Prisoner by Diana Gabaldon. You might know her from the Outlander series, which I have also read on this channel before. I think I've mentioned it in a vlog. I have been working my way through the Outlander series, and I still am. But this is the spin-off, and it follows this lord called Lord John Grey. And this was the third part, and I've actually read parts 1 through 3, and then a bunch of short stories for work. And the important part is that I read it in Finnish. So for work, I read literature that is translated from English or another language into Finnish. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good either. If you like Outlander and you're thinking about the Lord John series, I really liked part 2. So if I may recommend part 2 for you. In my opinion, you could read the books. Like, you don't have to read them all. You could just read part 2 and then thank me later. But yes, okay, so the total of this month comes to 5 books, which I think it is my record, personal record in a month. 5 books. I think that's pretty good. I generally am a bit of a slower reader, and 5 books in 1 month was kind of crazy for me personally. So, but yes, this has been my March reading achievement. 5 books, pretty good. Hope you like this. If you have any thoughts, feel free to comment them down below. I think that's all I want to say. So, oh, if you want to follow me on Storygraph or Goodreads, I will link them down below. I unfortunately don't accept people that I don't know as my friends, but at least in Storygraph you can follow me if you want. They will be linked down below, as well as my socials and all that. But hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a good time. If you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me the space to talk about my little books. And yeah, see you next time. Bye!